Doing some troubleshooting this Friday afternoon, I guess it is now. It's a little afternoon. What this is this is a remote control fob for a lock for a door, for a house door. And it has two buttons. I'm assuming I don't have one of these locks myself, but one for lock, one for unlock. And the problem that we're having first, this had been switch adapted so that an external switch could be used instead of these teeny tiny micro switches. But the problem that's come up with the most recent batch is that there has been a big battery drain on the board. I think the batteries are lasting a couple of days, which that really shouldn't be. Now they're using CR2032 coin cells, one of my least favorite batteries. I just don't like coin cells. They're cool for their size, but I think they're kind of a hassle. But anyhow, they're good for remotes. So the first thing I did is I hooked this up to a bench power supply to power it without the battery, to see what sort of power requirements it was asking for and what sort of drain. It really wasn't too bad. It was what I expected. I gave it 3 volts using about 10 milliamps, 11 milliamps, which is like 0.08 watts when transmitting. So that was pretty good. I didn't see any fluctuations. So I broke out the oscilloscope, and let me switch over the camera real quick to the other camera. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, it's not letting me do this. So here is the oscilloscope debugging that I'm doing on this remote control lock device. And the line that you could see, let me get a pointer here. I have a webcam pointed to my scope. This is the current power draw that the scope is reporting. So it's about it's a little over 3 volts on that battery. So the battery is just kind of sitting around waiting for something to be done. Now, what happens when you press one of the buttons, it wakes up the microcontroller on it and engages the transmitter. And you could see that when I press the button. See that waveform there and that voltage drop? That is the voltage drop that it's doing when it is powering that transmitter. You can see, and then it hops back. I have 2 cursor lines here. The upper cursor line is the value I'm usually seeing on the battery at the moment, and the bottom cursor line is the lower voltage, which happens to be about 2.9 volts, which isn't bad. It's a 3-volt battery. So transmit, 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 blue. Okay, one thing I did notice, I mean, it is going back up fine. So it does seem to be falling back to sleep okay, at least in the short term. One thing I did notice, and see, so notice right now the kind of doing nothing mode, the line is up here. Transmit, transmit, transmit. Now, if I keep holding the button, it stops transmitting, but it's still a pretty significant draw. What this is the microcontroller awake. So as long as that button is being pressed, it's going to be drawing more power. So if the switch adaptation is somehow messed up, and I don't see how, but maybe it will keep this chip on until you release the button. I'll release it now. And boop. And you could see the battery is recovering gradually. And it'll come up to this line, and in a minute or two, it'll actually go up above the line as the battery recovered. So it's a pretty significant draw when transmitting. And if you hold down the button, then you've got real problems because it's going to drain it real fast. Let's see. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a larger capacitor to kind of filter out the the power, give it a little bit of oomph so it doesn't sock that battery so badly on transmit. Um, the capacitor acts like a little miniature storage device, so it could help even things out. And I have wired this up to do external power and switches, and that's pretty easy. So if we need to go with bigger batteries as a short term, I think we could do that. More to come.